Well, hello, a very good afternoon, and welcome here to just a stunning venue. We're here in Mexico, we're here in Puebla. It's a new venue on the World Cup circuit, but one that's hopefully going to be on the calendar for years to come. It's absolutely stunning. You can see the backdrop just behind the trees there, and this ring is pretty stunning as well, actually. Big grass arena, plenty of room, and quite a unique shape that you'll be able to see as things continue on through the competition here this afternoon. My name is Adam Cromarty. I'm here throughout the weekend. We are live, of course, on Facebook, so if you're watching, do let me know where you're watching from, and we'll get you involved with the conversation as well. As you can see, it's blue skies out there, it's sunny, it's 23 degrees, and there's zero chance of seeing any wet stuff here this afternoon. But it's going to be a real good competition and a real good chance to see, you know, those first few combinations that are going to be campaigning for the World Cup a little bit later in the weekend. This gives them a good chance to get in and see the ring. Marina Azevedo is our course designer. She's a level 4 course designer, the only female level 4 course designer in the world, actually. She's from Brazil, and the track that she's built here, it's got 13 obstacles, 16 jumping efforts, and the time allowed is set at 82 seconds, so a time limit of 1:64. As always, you know, we get some great names here in Mexico. A few different nations represented as well, but this is who's coming forward. You know, Nicolas Pizarro, one of the biggest names in Mexican show jumping. Rodrigo Lambre for Brazil, he's got a great string of horses at the moment. Jaime Escaraga has been involved with the sport for so many years. And Luis Alejandro Plasencia, you know, a name we see all over the place at venues like Spruce Meadows. Francisco Pascual, very much involved with kind of promoting the sport over here, as is Salvador Oñate, who were at his venue a couple of years ago down in Leon. He's got Beautiful Red coming forward as his first ride here in the competition. But it's a jump-off format. I think we are going to see a lot of clears. You know, when you get onto this page, we've got Federico Fernandez, Davidoff. It's a horse he knows inside out, one that we've seen campaign all over the world. Alberto Sanchez Cozar's on there as well. Union de la Nutria, another very experienced partnership. As we get towards the second half of the competition, you'll start to see some of those names repeat themselves because they've got two horses coming forward. But you know, normally the horse that they'll nominate to jump in the World Cup will come towards the beginning of the competition. Nicolas Pizarro back in there again, and then Rodrigo Lambre, we talked about him before. Jaime Escaraga back with the second horse, as is Luis, Salvador Oñate, Francisco Pascual. So all these riders, you know, with a couple of horses, we'll see them coming back and joining us once again. Finishing things off, though, will be Manuel Gonzalez, a man who's, of course, represented his country up towards Olympic level as well. So a real good field, a real solid course out there as well. Nothing, you know, trappy or overly difficult, but just a lot of questions. So it's going to really suit those riders who, you know, like to think about it quite a lot. But once again, if you are watching on Facebook Live, it's great to have you with us. Do let me know where you are watching from. Danielle's already with us, Jason Leach on there as well. But you can stick that just in the comments box below, and if you've got any questions about the show, about the World Cup series, about the sport in general, or about anything else, you can pop them in the comments box below, and I'll answer them if I possibly can. We'll take a look at this track in a bit more detail in a couple of minutes' time once we get that first combination on course. But you can see, you know, a real stunning ring. Blue skies, mountains in the background. And we're actually almost on a mountain up here as well. We're really high above sea level, about 1 kilometre above sea level actually. I don't think, you know, these days, you know, horses used to travelling so much. I don't think that will really play into things too much. But you'd certainly want to be here for a day or two and let the horses get acclimatised. And also the riders get acclimatised as well. Samantha's just joined us. He's watching in BC in Canada, where I bet it's slightly colder than it is here. I was in Cancun yesterday. It was really warm there, and then flew here to Puebla. And it's certainly, you know, although it's a new venue, I don't think it's going to disappoint. It's a new venue to the World Cup circuit, but it's used to hosting equestrian events, and international equestrian events as well. So some of these riders will have certainly been in this ring before. Gary Moore's joined us in Scotland, where I'm from originally. I'm from Edinburgh originally, so I know it's definitely colder there. Be a bit grey and probably raining, I would imagine. Adriana's watching in Saratoga Springs in Utah. Cecile's joined us, and speaking in a foreign language that I don't really understand. But good to have you with us anyway, Cecile. And great to have people watching from all over the world. You know, Mexico is just growing and growing with the number of international competitions that they do have. But also the horsepower they've got as well. They've got some great young talent coming through, and I think they're one of the nations where the older members of the team are so supportive of the younger members. But the stage is set. We are getting ready to see that first combination on track here with us, and it's going to be Luis Gerardo Castendia to get us underway. Got a 10-year-old horse coming forward with some great lines, including Untouchable and Pilot. This is YouTube Z. So again, this will give us a good opportunity to have a little look around this course. Rina Azevedo, a great course designer. You know, we've seen her build all over North America and Europe as well. And she's sort of used every single inch of this course. It's quite an inviting first fence. You'll see it in a sec. It's a ascending oxer, so that means the front bar just slightly lower than the back bar. And the rest of the oxers start to get a little bit squarer. From there, it's left-handed round to a vertical. That's about 1.48 meters. And then very quickly, you're rolling back, right-handed in the turn. This is another oxer. This is much squarer now, so the front bar and the back bar are almost exactly the same height, so it's good for the careful horses. It's about 1.55 wide. Right-handed, bit of a dog leg, and into a really gymnastic triple combination. Upright oxer, then upright out. And then you're on a 5-stride distance as you come down towards another oxer, and it's a real committed line down there. There's no space or time to make any corrections as soon as you sort of turn in there. Left-handed roll back, and I think that is a fence that we're going to see cause an issue once or twice during this competition. You heard the ground jury there ring the bell, so they decided that the horse didn't make an effort to take off. It's going to be classed as a refusal. So the ring crew will just jump into action, rebuild that fence, and he'll be assessed 4 faults for the stop, but also 6 seconds added into his time as well. Bell goes again. He picks up that rhythm, gets organised. But this fence sitting on its own somewhere actually wouldn't be too difficult, but you are coming down after the gymnastic triple combination. Big square oxer, you're turning, and the upright's just right on there. That's 6, and then down towards fence number 7, which is the oxer, and then down towards 8, which is about 1.50 meters in height. Right-handed once again, another sort of big sort of looping rollback turn round towards this oxer. And again, it's all about just sitting back and waiting for that distance. That's another fence I think might come down a couple of times. Left-handed, right hand as we land though, and then back rolling round towards fence number 12. And then we finish right over on the far side of the arena after that double, down towards fence number 13. Liverpool Water Tray sitting underneath. It's going to be quite a costly ride. We've got to remember there are time faults there, but 6 seconds added in for that disturbance on course. The time allowed set at 82 seconds, 89.86 there, and a total of 20 for our first to go. You can see here again in this replay, just plenty scope for that horse, and I think just getting a bit more experience, jumping these big meaty tracks where things do come at you quite quickly. You can see him there really just trying to maintain that straightness through there as well. Had to work hard on course, but is going to finish on a total of 20. Philippa Marks is joining us watching in Ireland. We've got Anne B with us as well. Linda's there. And Amanda Curry joining us as well. So yeah, any comments about anything that you see, feel free to pop that in the comments box below. Elizabeth says, I'm so happy to see some show jumping and the weather as well. They've got a lot of snow and no indoor arena. I can feel that pain. I was at home in the UK a few days ago and it was absolutely freezing. Anyway, let's get back to the sport here. Chiguel Lucia comes next, a 12-year-old, while the Francisco Rodriguez taking the rides here. He certainly comes from an equestrian family. His father coached the eventing team in Guatemala. And in fact, this rider, we've seen him event before in the past. Just catches that oxer there. You can see maybe just picking up things a little bit, hoping to be a faster 4-fault round and still get a good result here. But when I was watching this horse last year, especially towards the end of 2021, he had some great finishes, and I think we'll see that just build and build as this year goes on. And it's a real interesting field here today. We've got some, experienced partnerships. We've got some new partnerships. We've got some riders who are just starting to step up to this level as well. But can see the horse, you know, really settles down into that rhythm nicely. Just gets a bit deep coming in. Manages to get out, and then we'll have to work here. Yeah, and just catches that. And although it looks like there's quite a lot of space, you know, between that double and that final oxer, it does come at you quite quickly. It's all about the canter, all about keeping that rhythm. But it's going to be a total of 12 here in round number 1, 80.87. If you have just joined us, it is a jump-off competition, this one, so any tie for first place after round 1 will take us to a single jump-off against the clock. We've got a lot of talent still to come. If you are watching on Facebook Live here, if you could just hit that share button as well, just let your friends know that they can watch as well. And we'll get Nicolas Pizarro underway. Nicolas, a rider who is certainly well known, not just here in Mexico, but you know, he'd be known all around the world. He's represented his country to Olympic level, been to the Pan American Games, and this horse jumps a cracking double clear and finished 5th in the World Cup in Fort Worth in Texas. That was our sort of last time out. So you'd sort of expect him to be, you know, doing rather well. I don't want to jinx him and say being our first clear, but I think he possibly could be. It's always nice to see Nicolas. We see him quite a lot at Spruce Meadows as well. Pia Contra's got some great lines at Baikon Thargas out of a Chaco Blue mare. You can see bumper app as well, and I can see this horse has had 7 podium finishes during its career. At this sort of level, average faults round about 5, but you can see it's a perfect clear today. It is clear round number 1. Nicolas Pizarro and Pia Contra, 77.48. And we know consistency is really key in the sport, and as I was mentioning there, you know, at a metre 50 level, this horse has an average faults of about 5.25, but when you think of how many rounds these horses jump, that's a really good percentage. It shows that the horse is very consistent. And really it's seen most competition at metre 45 level, had 25 starts there and 12 starts at 1 metre 50 level. So we've seen that first clear now. We're going to be looking for a second one to guarantee a jump off for us. And again, this is another rider who you'll have heard of. This is Rodrigo Lambre. Again, it's another real equestrian family. His brother competes internationally to Olympic level. His partner Caroline involved with the sport. His father competed to World Cup level. So the whole family, you know, really involved. And he'll have probably had a chance to watch a little bit of Nicolas's round, or perhaps one of the other riders as well. And this is a real serious horse. First saw it with Erin Ballard riding, who was second at Sacramento in the World Cup after only sitting on this horse for, you know, a handful of times, but then very quickly it went to Rodrigo. It's a new partnership. They've only been together since the start of the year, but already having a great win in San Miguel in the metre 40. You can see how easy he makes that combination look. Just moves up a little bit for that oxer. And you'll be able to see him, you know, really using that upper body through the turn and just setting up for this upright. It's probably one of the most delicate fences on course just because of it, you know, coming out of that corner straight off the turn. Got to hold things together, almost home. You think you're almost finished, and then this double comes at you, and you've really got to ride down towards this final fence as well. Yes, all the way, 79.93, so already jump off guaranteed, and 2 great ones going through. You know, I think we're going to be in for a great World Cup here on Saturday. But that really is a serious horse. It's an 11-year-old. It's had 14 podium finishes. And again, just having a look on the jumper app, we can see it is in euros, although we are in Mexico, but it's won over 132,000 euros in its career. And in terms of faults, the average faults for this horse at 1m60 level sits at 2.83. It is so consistent. A real nice horse. Going to be a great one to watch in the jump off as well. Could we get this man there? Jaime Azcárraga comes forward next, 13-year-old. Jaime, another one who's been involved with the sport for so long. You know, when you think what he's done in his career, he's been to 4 Olympic Games, World Equestrian Games, 3 World Cup finals. This is a horse he's travelled with quite a lot. We've seen him over in Europe in Saint-Tropez, Canoca last winter. Started off the year down at the Winter Equestrian Festival in Florida. He represents Mexico. And of course his son Gonzalo also riding under the Mexican flag as well. This is the Gambler, 13-year-old. You can see him just having to take a little check there down towards that triple combination. And a real look at concentration as he lands and then comes down towards the oxer. Just having a look on Facebook Live, Philippa Mark saying, love this combo. I think that was about Rodrigo, who we just saw a minute ago. But again, if you do have any questions, any comments, pop them in the comments box below, or if you just want to let me know where you're watching from, you can do that as well. It looks like we might be about to add another one to our clear round list. Oh, a little tap on the back bar of the oxer there. You can see the Serena's got a real unique shape. Oh, just catches that upright coming out, so sits on forward down towards the last an 80.96, so inside that time allowed of 82 seconds, but it is going to be just the 4 there. Takes him into 3rd place at the moment. Of course, the top placings will be decided by that jump off against the clock, and then the rest of the leaderboard made up on faults and time. But, you know, jumped, you know, all the kind of technical questions out there really well, and then just caught that one rail coming out of the double. That's the 2 clears we've got at the moment. Nicolas Pizarro, Pia Contra, and then Rodrigo Lambre with Hubarth B. So that's who's coming back for that jump off against the clock a little bit later on. I don't think they're going to be alone though. I think we'll see another handful at least making it through into that jump off. Christy Walker's just joined us watching in New Zealand. We've got Isabel in Sydney as well. Don's in South Africa. Trish in New Jersey as well. Joining us from Denmark, we've got Malika. Great to have you all with us. And now joining us as well, Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Chakalanda. Luis is in a great position at the moment. He's got a couple of really nice horses on the circuit. I mean, he's got, you know, Elton out there. He's got Connecticut. This horse as well, of course, that we've seen Salvador Oñati ride on so many occasions. Luis competed this horse a little bit last season and only a handful of times so far this year. But in saying that, he was out about 2 weeks ago, jumped a double clear and finished in 2nd. And it's got some great lines, this horse as well. Got Chaco Blue in there, it's got Cento. A little light rub on there. You can see he just keeps this horse moving forward all the time, and although the time allowed, you know, not a huge test in this competition, it's certainly very much there, and they're all coming home within, you know, 3-4 seconds. So it's just got to be in the back of your mind all the time. It's the oxer coming down, so we're up to 8 faults now. Catches that one as well. But, you know, as I said, you know, only been out a handful of times so far this year. It's a big opener on in this one, finishes on 81.33. Elizabeth Malmstrom says a lot of the World Cups have been cancelled on the West European League. Has it been like that all over the world? I think it really still comes down to COVID. You know, the ones that tend to have been cancelled over in Europe are in countries that have restrictions still in place, or restrictions that wouldn't allow them to run as big open commercial events. But I know the North American League is you know, in full swing. We've only got another leg to go after this. We're off to Ocala next week, and then that is it. We all look toward the World Cup finals. Jose Antonio Chedraui's next. Mighty Mouse is the name of the horse. Now, this is a 16-year-old, but you wouldn't think it to look at it. It's still, you know, got so much scope, so much ability. And this is a family with, you know, generations of horsemen in it. Jose's based at the family yard in Jalapa. And, you know, if you follow the sport over this side of the world, you may have seen Gerardo Pascual riding this. He had a lot of fun. He was riding this horse since about 2015, but Jose's had the ride for a couple of years now, and he's certainly adding a lot of placings onto their scorecard. A very experienced horse, and you can see Jose occasionally just having to sit back and take a little check, because Mighty Mouse sort of says, you know, let me at them, Dad, let me at them. And again, just heading over and having a quick look on the jumper app, I can see that his you know, success rate at this level, he's having average faults of about 2.86. So again, that's absolutely nothing when you think of all the rounds these horses jump to have that. Oh, but he's going to maybe change that percentage there. It looked like it just drifted left through that shoulder a little bit. It just catches the upright. But yeah, very sort of consistent horse, and good to see, you know, at 16 years of age, still very much enjoying the job as well. Just the four today, 79.30 the time, and 4 faults there for Jose Antonio Chedraui and Mighty Mouse. Best of the 4 fault rounds though, so heads down into 3rd place. Pushes Jaime Azcárraga down into 4th. Nicolas Pizarro and Rodrigo Lambri even are 2 clear rounds at this stage. Really clean front legs, really snaps up. Beautiful Red comes forward next. This is a horse that Salvador's had since about 2018. It's by Casal. It's an old rider, Frank Chater. So yeah, that means, you know, the horse came through the European system. We saw him in the young horse competitions at shows like, you know, Dublin, who've got a real strong young horse division. But Salvador's been pushing up the levels. We've seen him jump at places like Spruce Meadows, and then of course he went to the World Cup at Leon here in Mexico. Last time we had a World Cup here, that was in Leon back in 2020, and he took the win of that one. I think this could be one to watch. He's had quite a busy couple of weeks though. He just joined us from Guadalajara, where he's been jumping some nice rounds there. Karina's just joined us from Denmark. Good to have you with us. Philippa says, love Mighty Mouse. That's a cracking horse. But big reds. Pretty nice as well. Beautiful red, this one. By Casal. See him just having to take a little check, really set up for that upright. Square rocks there. Yeah, nicely done, but just sits on that 4 at the moment. Quite a late falling rail. Catches another one there as well, so up to 8. But although he's had a couple of rails on this today, I think this is a horse we'll see in the World Cup here on Saturday, and you know, I wouldn't let you think that that horse was a 16 fault type of a horse. You know, he could easily come in here and pull it out the bag on Saturday in the World Cup. During his career, that horse has won about 153,000 euros. He's had 15 podium finishes, and according to the jumper app at this level, his average faults sit below, just below 1 rail, about 3.91%. So jumps clear about 30% of the time at this level, according to the jumper app. but still on those 2 clears. I think we're going to see about maybe 6, 7 clears in total going through to that jump off. It's going to be a cracking one when we get there. Vibka's just joined us from Norway. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. Good to have you with us. Again, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can let me know where you're watching from, or if you've got any questions, pop them in that comments box below. Don't forget to hit the share button as well. But we're going to get Francisco Pascual underway here. He's got the 10-year-old Ibano. Some quick star lines in there. Franza, a great organizer of show jumping here in Mexico as well. You know, he's involved with, you know, some of the biggest shows that Mexico's had and still has, actually. And as an athlete, we've seen him pick up a couple of gold medals at regional games level. He's got a couple of great horses at the moment. I really like his other ride, Naranjo, but you know, this horse is really stepping up now. He had a win with it back in September. And this is one he knows really well. He brought it out a couple of years ago in its 8-year-old year and has produced it really carefully. We saw him in the young horse competitions at Spruce Meadows. Another competitive rider as well. You know, if he gets through to the jump off, he'll certainly be in it to win it. You sort of get the feeling when you reach this part of the course that it could almost be over, and then you have to remember you've still got this double and then that final fence as well. Gotta keep an eye on that time, 82. He should be okay though. Yeah, safely through, 80.23, so clear round number 3 there. Francisco Pascual and Ibano representing Mexico and earning a place in that jump off against the clock. He's alongside Rodrigo Lambre and Nicolas Pizarro. That's our 3 clears at this stage of the competition. A lot of great combinations still to come as well, and again I think we will see a few more added on to that list. But such a nice horse, and you know, to have 2 like that in his string as well. But now we sit on those 3 clears heading through to that jump off against the clock. Miguel Torres is next. Chakendra. Another one for the home team, and a horse he knows really well. You know, we've seen him jump a few World Cups over the last few years. And we saw him in a similar competition. It was a Grand Prix, but similar type of track about 2 weeks ago, and he finished top 3 there. So you know, that gives you a little bit of confidence as you come in the ring. He's no stranger to these big meaty courses. 13-year-old horse by Chaco Blue, probably one of the most popular show jumping stallions at the moment. You know, real great lineage. Whoa. Yeah, he's going to have an expensive line through there. You know, again, everything's so related on that line, and you don't have everything just perfect coming out of the corner. There's pretty much nothing you can do. But obviously that is a triple combination, and for those that are sort of new to the sport, it is almost judged as one obstacle, although you're faulted at each individual element. But what I'm saying is if you do have a stop or a run out or whatever, you have to reattempt all 3 elements there. So that fence gets put back up, and then the bell goes again, and he comes back round to reattempt A, B and C. And from here on in, it's really academic. You know, it's about giving the horse a nice ride. It's about setting up for later in the weekend and setting up for the next show as well. You can see the horse has certainly got the ability. Plenty of scope in there. Taking a bit of a check round that corner. Oh, having to work quite hard round there. And really having to set up for this one as well. But you know, to have that issue quite early on in the course at the triple combination, then to come back and, you know, give the horse a nice finish. I think you've got to kind of focus on the good bits as well as the bad bits. But it's going to be 26 in total, 95.14, with that 6 seconds included for the disturbance on course. Judy Campbell's joined us from Washington State. We've got Carol from Connecticut. James is watching from England as well. Good to have you all with us here on Facebook Live. And again, if you want to let me know where you're watching from, any questions, any comments, just pop them in the comments box below. But great to have you with me. Great to have you involved with the conversation as well. And this is Manuel Gonzalez coming next. First of a couple of rides, and this is the horse he took to the Olympic Games in Tokyo. It's by Corland, you know, one of the VDL stallions. 15-year-old that's been on Nations Cup duty, but actually, you know, when you think about this horse and this rider, you know, it took Manuel to his first Nations Cup back in 2019, and what a quick journey it's been since then, straight to the Nations Cup final and then straight to the Olympic Games. Great relationship he's got with this horse. And it's so nice to see, you know, the sort of newer names coming through now and being on Team Mexico. I was talking about this the last time I was here for World Cup. Obviously didn't run last year, so back in 2020, but the team here is just growing and growing in terms of not just the horsepower, but also the amount of talented athletes that they've got in Mexico as well. So I think, you know, by the time of the next games, I think they're going to be real contenders. So staying on the 3 clears at this stage. Nice to see this one going through as well. And he's not far away from home. Time looks okay. About 10 seconds to get home and just 1 fence left. Is he going to be another clear? Yes, he is, all the way. 78.36. The Olympic partnership goes through now and brings us up to 4 clears at this stage. 11 combinations, or 12 combinations actually gone so far, about 21 left to come in the first round. Christy Walker on Facebook Live saying great combination, very nice rider. Tina's watching in Montego Bay in Jamaica. Oh, bet it's lovely there. Trina, good to have you with us though. She says the course and arena looks amazing and challenging. Yeah, there's plenty of, you know, big questions on course. It's a really nice arena. And I don't know if you can make it out, but a real kind of unique shape as well. It's almost like a bit of an egg, but with a straight line in places. But it's great, you know, and it's good for the course designers to use a sort of different shape arena as well, because it does change the questions. You can't sort of bounce off the walls in here. Everyone has just joined watching in Toronto. James says, is there any English riders? There's not. We've got Mexico in here, Brazil, Guatemala. And I think that might be it actually, Brazil, yeah. It kind of changes from year to year, you know, how many nations come down here for the World Cup. This is Fernando Rodriguez Esparza on course. Halebe van de Oosthoven having an early rail. Again, it's almost frustrating having early rails, but if you have to look on the positive side and you've got the horse to do it on, you could then just speed up a little bit, try and be one of the fastest 4 falters and maybe pick up some prize money. Remember, in any FEI competition there's always 12 prizes. Even if there's only 6 riders, they still have to award 12 prizes, so the 7th would go to first and then 8th to second, all the way back down in that situation. So there's always 12 cash prizes, and at the moment there's only 4 clears. So if you can get round 4 faults in a fast time, you could still pick up some money. Fastest 4-fault round at the moment is 79.30. Well, he's not going to be quite there, but shouldn't be too far away. Might just pick up a time fault actually. Yeah, he's going to 82.50, so 4 jumping, 1 time. That's going to be 5 in total and heads down into 7th place. A lot of people commenting about the grass arena and how nice it is to see a grass arena. I mean, it's just such a stunning setup here, great backdrop. And you know, these grass arenas take so much work because it's not really just a grass field that you cut and put jumps on. You'll notice as the horses are going round, quite often you'll see it almost looks like sand that's flicking up, and that's because, you know, quite often they've got a big sub-base that really helps hold the grass together, and you can imagine how much work it is to keep it looking green as well. When you see that blue sky, and it's sort of like this most of the time here, you don't get too much rain. So it's a lot of work to keep these grass arenas, but I think it's so important for our sport. You know, the big grass arenas that you sort of think about, you like the Hickstead and Spruce Meadows, and a couple in Europe that you only really see in the summer. So it's nice to have them. Maddie says a perfect working from home bonus is having show jumping on your second monitor. Absolutely, Mandy. I mean, if anything, the show jumping should be on the first monitor and the work on the second monitor, but we'll let you off. Linda says it's a gorgeous locale. It is. Absolutely stunning backdrop here. Juan Jose Zandeas is next. Tino La Chapelle. Another partnership that really know each other quite well, actually. And Juan Jose's had some great input over the years from his family, you know, senior members of the Mexican team, and also spent a year or so working with Ilan Federer down in Wellington as well. But he's been jumping this horse for about 6 years. They started off together in the under-25s and quickly went on to become regular members of the Nations Cup team and the Jump World Cups, and it's just a really useful horse. It's very adjustable, but it's got that bravery of a big sort of Nations Cup horse. And Juan Jose is so competitive as well. You can really see him using his upper body round that turn. Perfectly straight, but just a little rub coming out there, and has to sit back and just checks into the oxer. This horse is 15 years of age now. It's by My Lord Cathargo out of a Verdi mare. So again, really bred well. Again, just waiting down to that upright. You can see that upright there is on yellow cups, and those yellow cups are, just catches that one. Those yellow cups are a bit more delicate than the white ones. They're a bit shallower by about 3 millimeters, which doesn't sound a lot, but you know, all you have to do is breathe, and it will come rolling out the cups. So keep an eye for the yellow cups on course. 4 faults 76.81, and just the 4 there for Juan Jose Zandeas and Tino La Chapelle. Fastest of the 4 fault rounds though, so drops him into 5th place at this stage, and again could be in with a chance of picking up some prize money today. But 4 clears at this stage: Nicolas Pizarro, Rodrigo Lambre, Francisco Pascual and Manuel Gonzalez. So that's the clears at the moment. Alberto Sanchez Cozar next to go, then Union de la Nutria for Mexico. Karina's asking, how is the permitted time determined? That's the time allowed. So the course designer, normally on computer now, but for these bigger competitions they will go around with a measuring wheel with the start time boards and then the finish time and boards. So the start line and the finish line, and they'll wheel the distance that a sort of careful horse would take. You don't want to go all the way around the houses, but at the same time you don't want to turn too tight either. So they'll sort of go on the average route, calculate the distance, then they look at the speed of the competition. This competition's at 375 meters a minute, so that's the speed that they're traveling from. Then they do that sort of calculation and it gives you that time allowed. And the time allowed actually just got even more important quite recently. The FEI just changed the rules, so up until a couple of months ago, if you got time faults in the have to pull out there. Again, that triple combination, you know, everything's just so related on that line, so he'll get reorganised. We'll get that back up. It's certainly not what we're expecting from that partnership. Real experienced pair. Had a lot of Grand Prix wins over the years. You know, you won the World Cup. They used to take place in Guadalajara back in 2020, so I think Alberto will be a little bit upset with that. But just going back to what I was saying about the time allowed, you know, it used to be in the first round, if you were over that time allowed, you got one time fault for every 4 seconds, or part of 4 seconds over the time allowed, and the FEI changed that quite recently. It looks like Alberto just decided to retire there. Yeah, the FEI changed that quite recently, and now made it like it used to just be in the jump-off, which is 1 for every commenced second. So that means, you know, the time allowed, it's always been an important part of the sport in recent years, but it's just got even more important. If you go a little bit slow, you can end up getting the same faults as you would for having a rail down or a refuse zone. Not quite sure why they did it, but they did it, and I'm sure they know what they're doing. But that was a real shame there. But great horseman, you know, he knew he was out of contention, so he knows that horse doesn't need the experience in the ring and decides, you know, just to save it for another day. Arturo Parada Vallejo comes next, a 14-year-old called Pandora. They join us just off the back of a 2-star Grand Prix win in Guadalajara about 5 days ago. Fences here a little bit bigger, the track may be a wee bit more technical as well, but you know, we'll see how they get on, just starting to step up and become more consistent at this level. And this is a horse that Bart Bless started over in Europe. They've been over here for quite a while now. Arturo's had him for a couple of years. It's a 14-year-old with Lordanas lines in there. Always gives you that little bit of confidence if you just come off a win. Guadalajara's quite a big ring as well. It's a sand surface down there though. It's a bit of a shame coming off the corner there. Again, fastest 4 fault rounds is 76.81. Yeah, and just finishes on the 4 today, 80.07. Going to slip down into 7th place at this stage, into 7th. And we stay on the 4 clears at the moment. Nicolas Pizarro, Rodrigo Lambre, Francisco Pascual and Manuel Gonzalez all coming back for that jump off against the clock. We've got about 15 left to see in the first round though, 15 left to go at this stage of the competition. And although this is the only ring we'll be seeing today, there's actually a second ring at this event as well. So it's one of these shows you can come to with a variety of horses. You know, you can bring the younger horses, jump the national ring, and then they've got a variety of competitions internationally as well. And remember, in FEI rules, you can't jump nationally and internationally at the same event, and you can't really swap about star levels, but you can step about in height. So if you have a sort of bad day and want to drop down a little bit, normally that's not too much of an issue. This is Federico Fernandez next. You can see him mounting in the ring, and as per the rules, you'll have asked the judges to do that before he brought the horse in and jumped on board. Now, when you think what this man's done over his career, you know, he's been to 3 Olympic Games, 6 World Equestrian Games, 3 Pan American Games, and this is a horse that's been all over the world with Federico. Federico's wife also jumps, Paula Amalibia, and they've just established quite a good base over in Europe, so they now sort of split their time between North America and Europe. So quite often you'll see them kind of pop up all over the place. This is a 13-year-old gelding. My Olympic Fire. It's won about €145,000 in its career. Again, really unexpected for that partnership. But, you know, that's show jumping. One day you're, you know, right up at the very top, and the next day you come in and have an early rail. Just having a quick look on the jumper app here at $1.55 level. He has a 42% success rate of going clear at this height. Average faults of about 3.29, and finishes top 10 over half of the time as well. So that goes to show how consistent this horse is with Federico on board. But we all have bad days at the office, and again, he'll just be thinking about now giving this horse a nice ride, getting a nice finish, and probably setting up. I'd imagine this will be the horse we'll see him jump in the World Cup here on Saturday. A little bit of a rub there as well. You know, if I had to say before the competition who I thought may go clear, I think that combination would be on that list. But today they're going to finish on 14 in total, 83, 6, 9 and 14. Linda's asking, can the course designer still modify time allowed within a few of the initial riders? Yeah, up to 3. So 3 rounds that haven't been sort of impeded by a refusal or something. Once you've got 3 completed, you can, in consultation with the ground jury, make an alteration to the time. They were actually thinking about making it so that you couldn't. But that rule didn't go through at the last FEI rules meeting, so it has changed to 1 for 1 when it comes to time faults in the first round, but it can still be amended if needed. Simon Salami Fracca comes next. So Nice is the name of his ride in this one. It's a 12-year-old, and I'm pretty sure this is Simon's only horse on the international circuit, but of course in World Cup, which the big focus is here this week, you only really need 1 good horse. You don't need to be selected to jump in World Cups. You don't need ranking points. If you've got 1 good horse, you could end up at the World Cup finals. And this is one that's by Conthargos. It's one that Nicolas Pizarro has ridden in the past. And if we see Simon here on Saturday, it'll be his World Cup debut. We have seen him jump a couple of bigger courses on this horse, though. You know, I think he's starting, you know, to step up to these bigger competitions, higher jumps, more technical courses. Pushes out there. And working hard round that corner. Has to make a bit of a correction and a change in towards the Oxer. But this horse is so adjustable, he lands, you can quickly get it back into that nice equal rhythm again. You can see him really sort of turning his head, looking for this next double. Quite a square Oxer coming in. It pushes down for the final fence, and just inside, 81.78. Time allowed of 82 seconds, so just inside. But, you know, who cares? As long as he's inside, that's all that matters. He's clear, and he will go through to that jump off against the clock. Simon Salami Fracca there for Mexico goes through, and you can see that big scopy effort over that final fence. Going to be a cracking jump off when we get there. Make sure you stay with me right the way through to the end. We've only got 13 left in the first round here, and if you've just joined us on Facebook Live, don't forget you can get involved with the conversation. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments box below. If you want, just let me know where you're watching. It's always interesting to see how far away we've had Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Canada, someone in England as well, various places in Europe. So do let me know where you're watching from. Remember, and hit share, let your friends know that they can enjoy the action here in Puebla. And we'll get Jose Alberto Martinez underway here with Quinley. So he's a 2-time World Cup finalist who's been to the Pan American Games as well. He's got another one called Easy Blue who's jumping internationally at the moment, another nice horse. This is a horse that's had, you know, the odd unlucky rail quite recently. He's been a bit unlucky over the last few times out. So hopefully that forefaultitis will disappear today. We've seen him jump World Cups. We saw him in Guadalajara back in 2020. He was top 6 then. So certainly got the ability. Still clear up at this stage. Time's not going to be too much of an issue for him. Going to be home inside. Just got to jump this. And he's done it all the way, 80.80. He'll be very happy with that. Super round and safely through into that jump off against the clock. And again, that's a horse that's really been building and building. It's had 12 podium finishes during its career. And again, at this level, top 10 on 70% of its starts. And in this sport, as we know, consistency really is key. It's clear about 23% of the time. That will now change because we've just added another clear round result to that horse's record. But it's really building now. Jose's in good company alongside Simon Salami Farca, Manuel Gonzalez, Francisco Pascual, Rodrigo Lambre and Nicolas Pizarro, all heading through into that jump off against the clock. Eduardo Sanchez Navarro and Governor on course with us now. Horse with Berggrath lines. It's an 11-year-old and a partnership that's been together since about 2019. But this is a horse that he's produced all the way up through the levels. And it's really starting to just become clear more and more often. It's very economic over the fence, you know, it's not ballooning. Just catches that one though. It's not one of these fences that really sort of balloons or hangs in the air. It's very economic. Doesn't waste too much energy over the fence. Again, a fast four-fault round could still put you top 10. It could slide you into 7th, but as soon as you have that second rail, you're pretty much, you know, pushed out of contention. Then becomes about giving the horse a nice finish, setting up for the next time that you're back in the ring or the next time you're back at a show. So having to hold and push down to this final fence. Catches that as well though, and is going to finish on 16 today, 78.24 and a 16 score for Eduardo Sanchez Navarro and Governor representing Mexico. So we sit on 6 clears at this stage. A lot of nice horses still to come. Ana Sofia Lagreto Hernandez is next. She'll be the youngest athlete in the competition, I think, here. She's only 17 years of age. Horse is 12. And you know, she's in a real good position. She's got another horse that's is equally as nice as this one called Santa Rosa Vancouver, and she took that horse to the North American Youth Championships last summer, just missed out on taking a medal there. But this is Santa Rosa Wellington Boy, and a combination, you know, that are really starting to step up more often than not into these bigger competitions. And it's not all just about the height. Again, if you're new to the sport, the actual fences, if they were just standing on their own with nothing else around them, and of course you've got the horse to do it, they're actually quite easy to jump. It's more about how the course designer sets things up. That one comes off a corner, then this one is on quite a related line. There's not much space before the next question comes, and the same here. You land and then you're sort of 5 strides and then you come down to the oxer. So it's more about how the whole course is put together than necessarily just about the height of the track. But at 17 years of age, this is a great way to gain experience, as is those North American Youth Championships. That event in particular, they all have to jog or show their horses in the horse inspection themselves. They get real good team experience there. It's about creating athletes that can go out and hopefully win medals in years to come. But then in terms of Grand Prix competition, coming to an event like this and being able to ride in this big open ring against these other riders who are here for World Cup, it's a great experience, and you can't really get it at home. Even if you had a nice ring like this, it's very hard to get the atmosphere, get the pressure as well, of course. So again, it's not going to be the round she was probably hoping for here this afternoon, but I'm sure there'll be lots of conversations had as she heads out, and so much talent to build on. That was Ana Sofia Legarreta Hernandez and Santa Rosa Wellington Boy, 86.79 and 21 total there. Just a little rub on that final fence, but just not her day, sadly. Grace Horsey's just joined us watching in Ireland. Hope you're keeping warm over here. I'm loving the sunshine here in Mexico. And of course the World Cup Tour. We head off to Florida next week to Live Oak in Ocala. It's another week of sunshine before I head back to the UK. Miguel Maron comes forward next, a horse called Northern Diamond. Now, Miguel took over the ride of this horse in 2018 when the horse was 8. It's 12 now. It's by Diamant de Reval. And again, if we do see them on Saturday, I don't know if he's going to be starting on Saturday, but if I do see him there, it will be his World Cup debut. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the competition. It's a real varied field. We've seen combinations that have been to the Olympic Games. We just saw a 17-year-old. We've seen a few like this partnership that would make their World Cup debut. So it's actually really difficult for the course designer, because you want to build a course that challenges those top horses that are travelling all over the world and competing at the the sort of bigger Grand Prix. But you've also got to keep the younger riders and the ones that are stepping up safe. So it's certainly not an easy job being the course designer. You can see just a bit of a sort of communication issue as he came down there, and then that sort of continued into the next fence. You want that feeling that when you take a little check, the horse kind of comes back and listens, and looks like Miguel's having to work a little bit harder at times than perhaps he would like to. Still just on the 4 faults at this stage, and any 4 fault round would get you into the top 12 at the moment. Catches another one though. Again, as soon as that second rail comes down, you're pretty much out of contention. But it is going to be 8 jumping faults today. 78.96 is the time. So that does go into 12th at the moment, but 9 left to go. I'd be very surprised if he stayed in the prize money as things continue. Lars joined us and says, Buenas noches. That's all. I can't do the rest of it because it's in Spanish, and that's about all the Spanish I can speak. Luckily, most people here speak English, so I can still survive and order food and stuff. Grace says, where will the next World Cup competition be held? Here on the North American League, it will be in Live Oak in Ocala, Florida, and that is next week. So from here, the sort of tour continues. The circus leaves town, as it were, and we head down to Florida. I'm actually going to Universal Studios for a day on Monday because we've got a bit of a day off. Fun fact. This is Carlos Rodolfo Molino coming next with Tribondulana Tria. Another representative of the home team here in Mexico. And another one of the younger riders. Carlos is 20 years of age. Had this horse quite a number of years now though, and we saw him jump the World Cup in Lyon back in 2020. So he has got some good kind of Grand Prix level experience. Tribondulana Tria is a 15-year-old by Kidam Di Reval. Another real popular stallion. Quite an adjustable horse, this one as well. You can see him kind of putting his leg on round the corner, but then can kind of sit up, take a check, and the horse does come back, and he sort of rebalances that canter quite easily. Again, just really kind of just using that upper body to bring the horse back. Oh. Little check in there. And 82 seconds time allowed, so about 10 seconds to get home. Should be okay though. Just got to keep moving forward. Yeah, no issues there. 80.09 the time, safely through to that jump off. Won here last week in the 2-star meter 40 classic with this horse, so a real great campaign he's having at the moment. Again, a real talented partnership. He's second in the Grand Prix, and we're going to look forward to seeing him back a little bit later on. 7 combinations now going through. 7 left to go as well. I still think we'll see 1 or 2 more as things progress. Wilder Francisco Rodriguez next with Highway S. Represents Guatemala. This will be a second ride. He's already had a chance to, have a little bit of a ride round here. He picked up 12 faults with his first horse. That was Chugalicia. Now comes back with Highway. And this horse is quite new at this level. Remember, they tend to nominate their World Cup horse and they would bring that in before their second horse normally. So we might see, 1 or 2 younger horses towards this end of the field. But it's sometimes just as interesting, isn't it, to see the horses that are starting to step up into this level. Just see as well, there's lots of people watching all around the ring in the various kind of VIP hospitality and the restaurants here, and it's a real kind of relaxed vibe going on. It's so nice for the horses and the riders as well. Some of the shows, especially indoors during the winter, it's a bit like a pressure cooker. That's come down, and so is that. But very related, that line. Although it looks like you've got all the time in the world, actually there's not a lot of room in there to sort out the canter. Takes down the last as well. It's going to be 12 jumping, picks up a time fault as well, 82.47, time allowed set at 82 seconds, so 1 time fault on course as well. Going to be some jump off when we get there though. I'm sure you've already got an idea of who you think are going to be taking the top honours here. We'll remind you, in fact you can see on screen now those that are making it through: Nicolas Pizarro, Rodrigo Lambre, Francisco Pascual, Manuel Gonzalez, Simon Salami, Jose Alberto Martinez also going through as well, and then Carlos Rodolfo. So yeah, a total of 7 at the moment, progressing forward into that jump off against the clock. Still think we might see 1 or 2 more, but don't tell anyone. Right, let's get Nicolas Pizarro back underway. Again, second ride for him. It's a horse he's had for about a year now. And we were talking about consistency earlier, and I think this horse is just becoming more and more consistent all the time. And he's had it for about a year, and I'd say he's probably now got the best string of horses he's ever had. And he's always had nice horses, but he's got that kind of breadth and depth to his string now. The horse would be quite new to this level. We've seen him do well, about 40% success rate of going clear at meter 50, 71% success rate at meter 45 going clear on the jumper app. quite new to this sort of height, although it's 1.50 m this competition. There are a couple of bigger fences out there. Really stepping up to this level. You can see Nicholas making a little bit of a correction there. He's got the canter completely sorted out and ready for the double. And then just glides home. Nicely done. 79.06 clear there. Nicholas Pizarro clear with the first ride, and now taking 2 horses through to that jump off against the clock, and brings us up to 8 in total jumping clear so far. Darice has just joined us, says great competition and hello from Richmond in the USA. Good to have you with us, Darice. And of course there's lots of sport to enjoy over the next few days as well here. The World Cup will be on FEI TV, and you can also catch highlights on various channels around North America, but if you are like Darice and in the USA, then it will be on CBS Sports, the highlights, a little bit later on in the week actually. So probably next Tuesday, Wednesday. Have a look at your TV guide, if those still exist these days, probably online, and you can find out where to watch. But also live if you're watching on Eurosport, you can see it, and a bit of a time delay over there, but almost live over in Europe, the World Cup on Saturday. Jaime Azcárraga next then, eye catcher JB. Second ride for him here in the competition. He's produced some great horses over the years. This horse travels in quite a kind of relaxed, quiet rhythm. He's had this horse for quite a while now, number of years in fact. I remember seeing him at shows like San Miguel and Valvanara when he was jumping at metre 30, and it was still really consistent then. It was Mark Hutziger who really brought this horse through the younger horse competitions over in Europe, but then it sort of came over to this side of the world in about 2017, I think it was. And since then, Jaime's just been, working hard to sort of push it up the grades, and all that work really starting to pay off now. He's been jumping some nice double clears recently. Oh, how lucky was that? You could see him having to work out of the corner there to get things organised, and then just comes down on the back bar. Just over the time though. 82.08 time allowed set at 82 seconds, so 800ths over. And it still goes down into 9th though, and could still get prize money with that one actually. There's 5 left, he's in 9th place, top 12 to get some prize money. You can see the big pats there from Jaime, and he'll be over the moon with that horse. I mean, just jumped its socks off in there. And perhaps just that little correction, before he came into the double on the corner, maybe that's where he just lost those 8/100ths of a second. Luis Alejandro Plasencia comes back. Again, second ride. Saw him a little bit earlier, now returns with this one. One of our final 5, just a handful that remain here. This one's a 12-year-old, Icon Thargos. This is a horse I recognise quite well because it used to be ridden by Matt Sampson of Great Britain, who's from the northwest, where I live actually, northwest England. And Matt was over jumping at Spruce Meadows and also on the European circuit last season. New ride for Luis though. He just brought it out, I think, for the first time internationally back at the beginning of this month, but before Matt Sampson was riding it, it was actually here in Mexico with Antonio Maura and Salvador Oñate. So it's certainly well travelled, this horse. It'll have plenty of air miles. There's a lot to like with this one, isn't there? Back bar comes down off the oxer there. And jumps that final fence. So just the 4 for jumping. A little bit steady though, so 83.02. Remember, with those new changes to the FEI rules, it is 1 time fault for every commenced second. So, you know, a few weeks ago, that would have been a total of 5. It's now a total of 6 for Luis. And it pushes him down and out of the money there. That 12-year-old that Luis is riding, just having a quick look at its record on the jumper app, and it finishes top 10 about 32% of the time, 37% clear round success rate at this level, with average faults of 3.26 when you add in all the rounds, and it's jumped about 19 meter 50 competitions during its career. Jose Antonio Chedraui next in, Araminca P, 10-year-old. By Verdi Tien out of a Voltaire mare. Another well-travelled athlete. He actually brought this horse out for the very first time as an international pairing. He brought it out here about this time last year at this venue. So he's certainly no stranger to this ring. Horse was based in the Netherlands before coming over to North America. But Jose, a real talent, very quiet rider. This horse has jumped in 13 competitions at this height. 15% success rate of jumping clear, so he'll be very happy if we can just leave these final few fences up. It's a 10-year-old with 2 podium finishes on its record. Comes down to the last though, making a great job of it today. Just keeping an eye on the time, but should be okay. He is 81.62. And again, he'll be very happy with that one. Great round. Safely through to the jump off against the clock. Wow, it's going to be some jump off when we get there. 9 clears at the moment. Grace is asking how high are these jumps. It's a meter 50 competitions, so most of the course there or thereabouts at meter 50. You know, obviously the first couple of fences slightly lower. Then a couple at, you know, meter 48, meter 47, but there are a lot of fences full up to height out there, and quite wide oxers as well. You know, the oxers you're talking about 1 meter 55 in width. A couple of them are 160 wides actually. Fence 13 is about 160 wide. Centre part of the triple combination 145 high, but 160 wide. So certainly plenty of meat on the bones out there. Salvador Oñate comes back, another ride for him. Elisa B. JX, 10-year-old. Early rail there. And another one as well, we're up to 8. This is a horse that Salvador's maybe been jumping for about a year now. But in terms of international competition, quite low mileage, you know, over that year. Maybe did, I don't know, about 9 or 10 competitions. Felix Kohler of Austria produced this horse on the European circuit through the 7 and 8-year-old competitions. But as soon as you do have those 8 faults, you start to think about the next day, the next competition, about setting the horse up nicely for the future. Although we've had a couple of rails at the beginning and one towards the end, there's a lot to like in the middle there. 12 in total though, 80.72 for Salvador Oñate, Elise BJX. Heads down to 17th, of course top 12 in the money today when it comes to the prize giving. So he heads down to 17th on 12 faults. Not many left to come though. Elder Blue is standing by, but here's who's gone clear so far. Some good names and some great horses up there actually. 1 or 2 of these have been to championships or Olympic Games. We know it's going to be a fast jump off when we get there. And there's Elder Blue. Miguel Torres Hernandez takes the ride of the 10-year-old. This is an Oldenburg. If you are new to the sport, you've probably just heard the bell in the background, and the riders have got 45 seconds to make it to the first fence before the clock starts counting up. This has been in the family, this horse, for, well, certainly since it started jumping internationally. But the last few times out, he's just had the odd reel here and there. I think they're just sort of working on that rideability, just getting that rhythm together. This is one of these horses that likes sort of moving forward all the time. Doesn't like, this sort of fight or slowing down. He likes to move in that forward, big open rhythm. But it's then just, keeping the canter short and bouncy enough that it doesn't become a little bit long and flat. You can see Miguel, working hard, but doing a good job out there. And they're all up so far. Come on. And again, should be there or thereabout in the time. He's going to have to be careful. You see a couple of them almost sort of back off that corner, and I think that's going to cost him his clear round because he's going to end up on a time fault here. Oh, and the last one comes down as well. 83.99. It became a very expensive last line there for jumping 2 times 6 total there from Miguel Torres Hernandez. And I don't know down to the last if he was perhaps thinking about the time allowed and maybe just popped his leg on to sort of try and make it, and then arrive there a bit earlier than he hoped for. But it's going to be 6 in total. But again, a lot to like about that round, and I know it's very frustrating when you have jumped clear to the last, but you've got to remember all these good parts of the course as well. Manuel Gonzalez is going to be our last to go. Martilas is a 10-year-old by Nabab Derev out of a Lord Zed mare. Again, he's got some nice horses at the moment. Let's see if we can get him through to the jump off in this one though. I've seen him jump quite a few Grand Prix with this horse. And over the last couple of years, another one that's been stepping up. When we first saw him in Balvanara back in 2020 with this horse, they were out doing the metre 30, metre 35 competitions, and now, pushing up towards metre 50. rails, so we know it is going to be 9 that will progress forward into that jump off against the clock. Just catches another one there as well. Oh, a little bit sticky off the ground there. You can see him just give him a little tap behind his legs, say come on. Catches the last as well. Again, you know, started really nicely, but it's going to finish quite costly on 12 faults, 80.47 and 12 there. Manuel Gonzalez from Mexico. So 9 clears is what's going to progress forward through into that jump off against the clock. We'll take a look at the runners and riders in just a moment, and if you're on Facebook Live, feel free to let me know who you think is going to come out on top in that jump off. But yeah, just a real kind of hard round there for Manuel. But here's who's coming back, returning from that jump off. Nicolas Pizarro's in there, Pia Contra, Rodrigo Lambri, Hubarth B, Francisco Pascual with the Bano. We've got Manuel Gonzalez, his first ride, the one he took to the Olympics, is coming back. Simon Salami is also in there, Jose Alberto and Quinley. So that's our first look, and then we've still got 3 more. We've got Nicolas Pizarro with his second ride. Jose Antonio Chedraui will be last to go, and we can't forget Carlos Rodolfo Molina as well. So some real quick combinations. You know, we've certainly got 1 or 2 that have been to Olympic Games in there, and you know, are all very competitive. And they've now, you know, sort of met that criteria of qualifying for World Cup. You know, due to the number of riders that are here, they don't have to worry about that. So it's all going to be about the prize money in this competition, and there's certainly plenty of that. So they're going to be pushing forward and trying to be the fastest one with the lowest number of faults to try and take those top honours. Evoka has just joined us on Facebook Live. She's watching in Bulgaria. I know it's getting quite late over in Europe, if you like an early night, so please do stay with us, because it's going to be an exciting jump off. And again, if you haven't hit that share button yet, feel free to do that. Let your friends know that we're about to have a great jump off, one they don't want to miss. And if you've got any questions, or you want to tell me who you think's going to come out on top, then you can do that on Facebook Live as well. We'll be back on Facebook Live actually on Sunday. We've got another competition there that you can get involved with. Again, it's always great to have you involved with the conversation. And then also, of course, we'll be live on FEI TV when we turn our attention towards the World Cup. Malika says, I have a feeling that Nicolas Pizarro is going to come out on top. Well, he's got 2 horses in there, and they're both quick, and one of them comes second last to go. I think we're going to see the lead change on a few occasions. You can see there the jump crew are removing some of the equipment. We'll obviously have a look at the course in a bit more detail when we get that first horse on track. But you know, it's a real good jump off. I had a look at it when I was walking the course, and there's a couple of rollback turns where you can really, you know, be as tight as you dare, as tight as you think you can get away with, and try and save a bit of seconds, or a few seconds I should say. But then there's also big areas where you can open up the canter, open up that gallop stride, and try and save time that way. So if you've got an adjustable horse that can move forward off your leg but then come back to you so you can still do those tighter rollback turns, then certainly you're in with a shot here. But it's going to be an exciting one. And as I say, I think that lead will change on a few occasions actually. It'll just be a couple of minutes, the ring crew there taking the material out. Some of the material will be removed because, you know, for example, we're using, I think, the first 2 parts of the triple combination, so obviously the third part has to come out, no way to avoid it otherwise. But they also take some material out to help with the turns as well. So if the course designer thinks, you know, removing something would help with a turn or would help make some extra room so that the riders can move forward, and they'll also do that as well. So we'll see quite a bit of the sort of material moving around, coming out, or just being moved to a different location in the ring. From that picture you can see there where that kind of, what you would call it, that sort of tower is where the judges are, just to the right hand side of the white tent, and that's where the gateway is as well. And then there's the warm-up just down at the bottom of the hill. And then there's another arena as well that sort of runs all day here with national competition. So it's a real hive of activity right from the morning through until almost sunset. And as I mentioned at the top, but just in case you weren't with us, we're we are almost on a mountain here. We're very high above sea level, so the views are pretty spectacular. If you stand up at those tents, you know, right up at the top on the right hand of your screen, you really can see right the way across Puebla. You know, some real great views, and it's a nice part of the world around here. I mean, most of the athletes we see representing are from Mexico. You know, we've got Guatemala in there, we've got Brazil as well. But this is a new venue for World Cup. You know, we had it in Guadalajara, we've had it in Leon. First time we've come to Puebla. And I'm assuming it's going to be here again next year. And I think we will see some other athletes come, you know, from North America, for those that are, you know, based down in Wellington or in California for the winter. I think they will make the journey here because, well, why wouldn't you? You know, when you look at the blue skies, and it's a chance to just experience something different as well. Not just in terms of sport in the arena, but also, you know, with the hospitality that's here, with the food, and just to get to a different part of the country as well. But there's more and more international competition happening here in Mexico. You know, they've got a leg of the Global Champions Tour coming soon, and you know, they've had a Nations Cup here, they've got World Cup, they really have got everything, and that's so important, not just for the sport within the country, but the riders that live here as well. You know, when you're trying to create teams and you're trying to create combinations that can go out and contest for medals at, you know, various competitions around the world, you need to give them that experience. And whilst, yes, they can travel to America or they can take a trip over to Europe for the summer, it's nice to do it on home soil as well, isn't it? Right, Grace is also agreeing it's going to be Nicolas Pizarro. They're getting involved on Facebook Live. You can as well if you want to let me know where you're watching from, or tell me who you think is going to win in the jump off, or ask a question, or whatever you want to do. You can stick any comments in that comments box below. But again, a huge thank you to everyone who has tuned in, who has been getting involved, and who's also been enjoying the competition here in Puebla. It's a real mixed field in the first round. I thought Marina Azevedo, our course designer, did a really good job actually. You know, we ended up with 9 clears out of, you know, a total of about 32 starts. And anywhere, you know, between 6 and 9 would have been the sort of perfect number, really. So a great job. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's difficult, you know, when you're building for these competitions, the course designer's got to try and put something together that will be really testing for these top combinations that have jumped all over the world, but also something that's going to be safe enough for those horses that are just moving up the levels, or for the, you know, the 17-year-old that we saw jump in the first round as well. She's got to be able to get the experience without, you know, running into anything too dangerous out there. So it's not an easy job being a course designer, but I think Marina did a great effort, and, you know, has got us a good result with 9 heading through to that jump off against the clock. Jeanette says, where am I from? Do I detect a bit of Scotland in there? You do. I'm from Edinburgh originally. I actually live just outside Manchester in England now, although I do spend quite a bit of the time travelling to sort of different shows. I'm here this week, and then I go straight down to Live Oak and Ocala for the World Cup. Then I'll be home for a couple of weeks, then off to Pinnock in Texas, and then Spruce Meadows for the summer in Canada. So, you know, that's just the way that the sport works now, isn't it? It's really global, it's really international, and everyone does tend to travel. But in some ways it's almost like a travelling family, or maybe some people describe it as a travelling circus. It does tend to be, you know, the same riders, the same officials, and some competitions the same TV crew even. So, you know, we sort of get to know each other really well, and there's a bit of a social side. It's always nice to be on your own sofa though, but I can't complain too much because back home it's raining and drizzly and miserable, and I think it was actually snowing a bit back in England today. So I'm okay here. Well, it looks like just final preparations being made here in Puebla. Sarah from New Zealand's just joined us, or just popped up to say hello actually. A lovely part of the world over in New Zealand. But yeah, I've just heard, you know, the first combination are making their way up from the warm-up. So we should be back underway here in just a couple of moments' time. This is the start list, by the way. You know, we've looked at who's made it through, but this is the sort of running order. They come back in the same order as they jump clear in the first round, so they retain that draw. So Nicolas Pizarro in his first ride will get us underway. Then we go to Rodrigo Lambre, Francisco's there, Manuel, Simon, Jose Alberto Martinez will come after that, and then we go to Melino Gordillo, then Nicolas Pizarro's second ride, and then Jose Antonio Chedraui will be last to go. And Grace is just saying it was snowing this morning in Ireland. Yeah, I think, you know, Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, anything over that section of the world, pretty miserable at the moment. Event I was organising last weekend, we almost got blown away with all the storms that were happening in England, so it was quite nice to get on a plane and head towards the blue skies. I managed to spend a day in Cancun yesterday, and I have to say that was quite nice. It was on the way here, but I just managed to, you know, spend a day there. Right, here we go. Hold on to your hats, it's jump off time. It's going to be quick, 56 seconds time allowed, but I don't think any of them are going to get anywhere near that. They're going to be going for it, they're going to be looking for the turns, they're going to be pushing on, they're going to try and be the fastest one with the lowest number of faults that will take the victory here. And of course, best of luck to them all. Nicolas Pizarro is in with 2 chances actually. Yeah, he's got two going through into this jump off. This is the first of those, this is Pia Contra. We'll take a look at that jump off track. We're starting over fence number 10 here in the jump off. That's the vertical. Then from there it's 10 to 11, so left-handed sort of bending line round to the Oxer. Then we look for fence number 7, so that's a kind of quite tight left rollback turn through here, just round the car acting as a turning point. Then right-handed down towards fence number 8, the vertical. Now we go to first 2 parts of the triple combination from the first round, so upright in, Oxer out, and 1 non-jumping stride through the distance there. 2 fences left from here, fence number 13, so the last fence from the first round. And then you push down towards fence number 2 to finish. Yeah, great job, great start. The pressure has been added for our remaining riders, and it's going to be 44.19 to beat. That was a very great round there for Nicolas, very good round indeed. Pia Contra now leads. 44.19 becomes the challenge. A horse with real scope, real ability, but also quite quick across the ground as well. Andy Armstrong's on Facebook Live saying that everyone that's on Facebook seems to live in amazing places. She's very jealous in Canada. She's going to be in Northern Ireland and Scotland, and then at the Royal in Toronto this fall, which I cannot wait to be at. I love going to the Royal. I host the coverage there every single year, but we've not been there because of COVID for a couple of years. So I'm looking forward to my trip to Toronto in November, and they're celebrating their 100th year as well. Back to this one though, and Rodrigo Lambre is on track, Huberth B. Now this is quite a new ride for him, but this horse is just so talented, so quick across the ground, and really just pings off the floor. He knows he's got a time to chase, but I think Nicolas might have just left the odd door open out there actually. All comes down to the horse you're riding and how quick you can dare come round these corners. That was a shame he just caught that rail there, because, you know, time-wise, this is going to catch it, I would think, coming down towards the final fence there. And yeah, smashes the time, 42.60, just 1 down. But again, you know, relatively, they are a new partnership, and I think that's going to be a combination to keep an eye on as the season continues. He's going to head down into 2nd place at this stage. Nicolas Pizarro still leads, 44.19. We now know, though, that the time that can be beaten, it's whether or not they can leave them up. But there's fast horses in the wings waiting to come forward and join us. Right, we're going to Francisco Pascual next with Ibano. Fran's got a couple of really nice horses on the circuit. He's just signalling to the ground jury just to pause the countdown. I think he wants a fence looked at out there. Probably the one that came down, I would imagine, because again, it was on those yellow cups. Remember, we talked about those yellow cups before. If you see yellow jump cups, it's not just that you can buy them in different colours for fun. The yellow ones are actually a little bit shallower, so it means that, you know, the poles will certainly roll out them a bit easier. It's about 3 millimeters difference, but that makes a big difference. Right, off and running here, 44.19. Nice and slick through there. Just steadies down a little bit for this turn, but you've got to set up, of course. Then opens up down towards the vertical, and has the confidence in that horse that he can come down on the forward strides, even the more delicate fences. Through now, what is a double? You can see he's got about 10 seconds to get home. He's up on the clock as he comes down towards this final fence. If he leaves this up, he goes into the lead, and he has done just that. 42.47 becomes the new time to be chased. Francisco Pascual now leads the way for Mexico. 42.47 is that time to beat. Nicolas Pizarro goes down into second, but Nicolas has another horse to come forward and to try and beat that new challenge. 3 combinations gone, 6 left here in this jump off. Have we just seen the winner? Is there someone out there who can go a little bit quicker? I don't know. I think we might see 1 or 2 go just a little bit faster. We'll wait and see though. You can see the atmosphere here really relaxed. The food is just amazing. And you know, the sort of VIP, the hospitality, the restaurants, they're kind of busy all day. People just enjoying, you know, just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying some great sport here as well. Our next partnership just making his way up into the ring now. Comes through the gates. And Manuel Gonzalez is joining us now with a horse that he took to the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Horantesia van der Leeuwenwerk represents Mexico. And sometimes, you know, when you're out in the warm-up getting ready for the jump-off, it's quite hard to also keep an eye on what's happening in the ring. But, you know, they'll have spies watching that can tell them, you know, that Fran went a little bit tight around here or a little bit tight there or opened up in this place. And obviously that there is now a bit more added pressure, 42.47. And with that information, you've then got to decide whether you want to maybe adapt your plan slightly or whether you want to stay to your plan. And that just comes down to, you know, what stage the horse you're on is at in their career. And also how brave you are, of course. But these riders have all qualified, assuming they want to go in the World Cup. They're already there. So this is all about the prize money, this jump off. It's all about risk and reward. Nice slice through here. Maybe just steady slightly on landing, and then you can see Manuel having to put the leg on. But he's still quick though. He's going to push down towards this final fence. Is he going to be quick enough? Lands, and he is. The lead changes again, 40.75. Manuel Gonzalez straight to the top. Been a great jump off so far. Certainly not disappointing here in Puebla. Pushes Francisco Pascual down to second. Nicolas Pizarro with his first of 2 rides heads into 3rd place. Fabik from Norway is on Facebook Live saying they've had almost all 4 seasons in weather. They've had rain, wind, sun, hail, and now they're forecasting snow and thunder over there. Yeah, I really feel for you, but I'll stay here in the sun if that's okay. Simon Salami comes next with So Nice. This horse really jumped its heart out in the first round. But again, they know they've got to push now. 40.75. That's going to take some beating. Again, this is a stage where you might want to adapt your plan if you feel confident doing so. Just catches that rail. I know I just mentioned risk and reward a second ago, but that's what it really is in these jump-offs, especially when, you know, Manuel's come in and laid down quite a tough test and a tough challenge. You're almost wanting to dare the rest of the field to maybe go a bit faster than they'd originally planned to and perhaps make the odd little mistake. I think Simon might just be about to put his hand up and retire. Yeah, it looks like he's going to call it a day, because he knows he'll still be placed, you know, within the top 9, depending on how everyone else does. But yeah, we see that signal, and he does retire there with So Nice. We've got to remember these horses have only got so many jumps in them, so you know, if you do come in and the horse jumps really nicely in the first round and then you come in and have a couple of rails, you know you're not going to place that well. Sometimes it's quite sensible, you know, just to save them for another day. That's our leaderboard as things stand. Manuel Gonzalez sitting at the top of it, 40.75. Francisco Pascual sitting second on 42.47. And then in third place, Nicolas Pizarro, 44.19. So that's how things look at this stage. But, you know, we're about the halfway stage. And none of those riders are here just for a school round. They all want a nice slice of the prize money. Jose Alberto Martinez is next with Quinley. 40.75 time to beat. You'll see with these riders, you know, you start just before the start line, if that makes sense. It's not as you land over the first fence. You want to begin with that big open canter stride. You want the horse to be thinking forward as it approaches the first fence. You know, that rhythm you take off in is the rhythm you want to land in. But these riders are all great horsemen as well, and you may see one or two that, you know, the horse just isn't quite at that stage in its career where it can take on the challenge of Manuel Gonzalez. He's had 4 faults. At the moment, the fastest 4 faults, 42.60. So if he can go the same or faster, that would take him into 4th place. Quite neat through that turn. And now just keeps thinking forward down towards the final fence. Yeah, 41.32 the time, so that is faster. Fastest 4-fault round now. Goes into 4th place, into 4th there for Jose Alberto Martinez. Pushes Rodrigo Lambre, the other 4-fault round, down into 5th. Top 3 unchanged though, are clear rounds. Manuel Gonzalez leads 40.75. Francisco Pascual 2nd. Nicolas Pizarro in 3rd. It's a 1-2-3 for Mexico at this stage. Not too many left to come, but that's Carlos Rodolfo Molina out there now with Tribon de la Nutria. It's him having a look around, just, you know, reminding himself of those turns. Taking a deep breath, picking up the canter, and then getting round towards this first fence. With a little stop in the middle for good measure there. Maybe felt the horse wasn't quite listening or whatever there, so just popped in a stop just to, you know, focus the attention. And here we go. Let's see, can he beat 40.75? That's the challenge, it's the time to be beaten. Oh, little rub there. Again, just keeps things moving forward. That's our course designer, Marina. You just saw us in the middle of the picture there. She should be very happy with the way things have went so far. Oh, just making a little bit of an adjustment there, a bit of a lead change round the corner. I don't think he's going to be quite as quick as Manuel Gonzalez was. Oh, and takes that rail as well. Yeah, time wasn't too bad though, 42.62. Penultimate fence comes down, and it's going to be 4 jumping faults. Without that rail coming down, he would head into 3rd place. So quite a costly rail, heads down into 6 for now. Getting down to that final couple in this jump off. Still not over though. 40.75 time to beat. And we've got 2 very quick combinations to round off this jump off here in Puebla. Real nice part of the world. Suzanne Gill's on Facebook Live saying beautiful grass arena. It really is. As I mentioned earlier, you know, so much work goes into this arena. It really isn't a grass field that's been cut and jumps put on top of it. You know, it's a real prepared surface that just happens to be grass. And a lot of watering and a lot of work to keep it looking green, because it's an absolute scorcher here. And you know, when you look at the weather forecast, you almost think that the app's broken, because it's the same every day. It's just sun, 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 which I'm not complaining about. I'm going to thaw out in here and down in Ocala as well before I go back to the UK for some more freezing weather and rain. I'm sure it must be spring home, back at home fairly soon. Nicolas Pizarro, we saw him to get us underway. He was clear, and he sits 3rd with his first horse, and now he comes back with Atlantica de Soleil Z. Nicolas Pizarro here from Mexico. The other thing you notice here in Mexico is everyone kind of supports each other. Doesn't matter where you're from, or you know which team you're a part of. Everyone around the ring is kind of shouting and whistling and sort of helping and encouraging everybody. Right, here we go. 40.75. Nicolas Pizarro back with a 2nd horse. Let's see what he's going to do with this one. In terms of experience, I would say the other horse he has is just slightly more experienced at this level. But you know, what a great string he's got at the moment. But Nicolas, you know, just placing everything so correctly with this one. It's a real team effort. 40.75 to beat, and he's opening up down towards this final fence. Is he going to be quicker? Oh, it's going to be close, but not quite quick enough today. 41.45 goes into a very respectful 2nd place. Nicolas Pizarro there. Atlantica de Soleil Z, 2nd for now, 1 left to go, so guaranteed a podium finish today. Manuel Gonzalez still leading at this stage. 40.75 will remain the challenge, will remain the time to beat, and there's only one combination that can take the win away. Nassim is commenting there about Nicolas, his horse, saying how beautiful it is. It really is. It's quite striking and stunning. Here's our last to go then. Jose Antonio Chedraui, Jaraminca P, last to go, and with a time to beat of 40.75. If he can leave them up and go faster, then the win is all his. Let's see. It's a long wait, waiting to come into the jump off when you're last to go. Here he is, off and running. Quite a considered ride down towards the Oxer. Catches it, it's all over. Manuel Gonzalez takes the victory. Fastest 4 fault rounds, 41.32. That's Jose Alberto Martinez. So he can be faster than that. Again, still a good placing. So still plenty to play for here. Looks like he is going to be the fastest 4 if he can leave this up. Oh, it's going to be close actually, maybe not. He finishes on the 4, 43.24. Yeah, so not going to take that fastest 4 fault position. Will finish in 8th place here today. But a great jump off, kept us on the very edge of our seats there. And you can see that last horse. I mean, it's got plenty of ability, plenty of talent in there. bags of scope. But we can congratulate Manuel Gonzalez, who takes the win here with Horentesa van de Leeuwijk. 40.75 the winning time, and quite a lead, you know, when it comes to international show jumping. We're used to winning now with, you know, 100th or 2/100ths of a second. Nicolas Pizarro second, 41.45, and Francisco Pascual finishing in third on 42.47. But a great field of about 30 horses in the first round. 9 qualify for that jump off, and a great win there for Manuel Gonzalez. You know, a horse with real talent, real ability, and a rider who we saw out in Tokyo claims the honours here in Puebla. Don't forget, plenty of sport to enjoy here throughout the weekend. World Cup on Saturday will only be available on FEI TV, so if you haven't already organised a subscription, make sure you check that out before then. And then I'll be back on Facebook Live on Sunday as well, so if you want to join me, you can get involved with the conversation. It's a little bit earlier in the day, around about 11 AM local time, which would be probably, if you're over in Europe, I don't know, probably about 5 PM. But have a look, do your sums, and make sure you come and join me. But a huge thank you to everyone who has been on Facebook Live, that's been enjoying the action here in Puebla, and also getting involved with the conversation. It's great to keep me company whilst we're live here and enjoying the sunshine. But whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world, enjoy the rest of your day. And from me, Adam Cromarty, it's goodbye for now.
Podemos tener una mejor versión. Banorte móvil también.
al primer lugar, al ganador de esta Copa Banorte, al mexicano Manuel González Dufrán, que montó Hortensia Van der Luber. Vamos a pedir al público se ponga de pie para entonar el himno nacional de México en honor a nuestro ganador. El presidente de la Federación de Ecuestre Mexicana, Juan Manuel Cosío, felicita al ganador de esta Copa Banorte. El representante de la Federación Ecuestre Internacional, Jorge Aros, felicita al primer lugar. El licenciado Rafael David, director del área internacional de la Federación Ecuestre Mexicana, felicita al ganador de esta Copa Banorte. La comitiva de premiación felicita al segundo lugar al mexicano Nicolás Pizarro Suárez, que montó Atlántica Du Soleil. El tercer lugar de México, Francisco Pasquel, que montó a Ébano. Cuarto lugar de México, Nicolás Pizarro con Pía Contra. La comitiva felicita al quinto lugar de México, José Alberto Martínez Vázquez con Quigley. Agradecemos al presidente de la Federación Ecuestre Mexicana, Juan Manuel Cosío, al representante de la Federación Ecuestre Internacional, Jorge Aros, y al director del área internacional, Rafael David, el que nos haya hecho el honor de premiar la prueba. Y le vamos a pedir a nuestro ganador, Manuel González, encabece la vuelta de la victoria. ¡Felicidades, jinetes!